Hey folks, welcome back to Only Best Fancy Novels. My name is Robin, and today I want to talk about The Bog Wife by Chronister. And this is an interesting book. Like, it first crossed my radar when it became a nominee for this year's War Fancy Award. And it's a very atmospheric, very gothic, very strange book. Well, maybe not very strange, but weird book. And it does some really cool things at the same time. Like, to start with, this book is set in the Appalachians, and you never hear about anything good happening in the Appalachians. So that should tell you right away what kind of book this is. Before I even get into that, I should probably describe what this book is even about. So, since time immemorial, the Hadsleys have lived in compact with the bog where their house resides. The compact is very simple. Every generation, the patriarch sacrifices himself to the bog, and in exchange, the heir to the empire, we should say, is able to get the bog provides a wife for that heir, for the bloodline to continue, essentially. And this book, we introduced to this family at a time where the patriarch is about to undergo this sacrifice, but the compact gets broken along the way. So now the Hadsleys are forced to confront this brand new reality and what that means for them, just for the history, their tradition, and what that means for them personally moving forward. So, like, this is a very gothic, very messed up kind of story, in that it's one that's very character driven. It's very character drama focused, very emotionally focused on these people. This book is not about it. Like, the plot of this book is about the characters specifically, not necessarily about the events that surround them, but about how these characters react to the situation that they're in. So, like, where it gets very interesting is that these people are weird. Like, what Chronister does here is to take the whole inbred backwater family trope and give us a story that is very charged emotionally, very charged in terms of, like, the character drama and so, without crossing the border into something that's, like, horrific, or horrific in terms of the usual stuff that you would find in these kind of stories, like incest and weird sacrifice, weird, like, cannibalism and these kind of things. It doesn't quite cross into that gory, disgusting territory. It hangs just on the edge, and the weirdness is more of a magical variety. It's more surrounding the nature of the bog and this family and the way that they've interacted over the many generations that the Hadsleys have resided on this land. So this book very distinctly has a line in the sand that it doesn't cross, and and in addition to that, it like I said, the primary focus of the triggering event is the ritual with the patriarch, and then the book is primarily focused on the characters and the way that they react to this. So we have a cast of family members. They're all children of the patriarch, and based on their roles in this little microcosm of a society, we see how their personalities shine through and how they decide to react to this whole new situation. So, in many ways, it was like looking at the stages of grief play out, like denial, anger, and all of these things. We have, and to add a little twist to things, we also have one particular character who escaped this scenario a decade ago and comes back following the situation with the patriarch, and so we get, like, an outside, a view of the outside, and a way to kind of measure just how strange the Hadsleys are compared to where modern day society is, and the just the asymmetrical way that that this microcosm of a society functions as compared to, like, the regular world. So, like I said, the story is all about how these different characters handle this change. And there's some who they dig deep, they hang on, they cling to tradition. There's some who seek truth, who as they begin to step into the reins of to begin to fill these new roles and these kind of things, they begin to question, and they begin to question the inconsistencies that they find. They don't just accept what what they've been told all these years as fact, but instead, when they find inconsistencies, when they find things that don't make sense, they begin to question and dive, and that leads to some pretty shocking revelations around this entire thing, how it started and how it got to where it is today. On top of that, we have this situation with this one particular family member who left and who came back, and the way that their the influence that they have on the family as a result of that, of having this perspective divorced from the rest of the family, who for them did, like, this is pretty much their entire world. So it's quite a bit of it's quite a mishmash of conflicting emotions and conflicting opinions and these kind of things that are here. And of course, underlying all of this are the relationships between the characters themselves, which often interact with these opinions. Like, for example, one character may agree with another, but because of they historically don't like one another, there would be an antagonistic twist to how they go about doing things like that. Like, it's all about the character drama, the tension, and of course the exploration of the magical in this story, because what was broken here was very much a magical compact, if we were to believe what we've been told about how this world has worked. Because one of the cool things that Chronister does is to introduce an element of uncertainty. Like, it's not quite clear if these kids have been lied to in terms of what the bog is supposed to do, or if that's actually the case. And that's something that's explored in as the story goes, as one particular character goes down a very weird storyline where it comes to the bog. So overall, it's just a really weird book, and that in many ways have made it very riveting to read. That being said, it is very much a book driven by characters. It is very much a book driven by the drama between them, by there is an element of mystery, there is an element of horror, and there is an element of fantasy to it. But these three elements are very much backstory. Like, they're not the focus of this book. The focus are very much the characters and their relationships and how they react to this brand new scenario. And honestly, because of that, it was a really engaging read, because these characters aren't necessarily characters you can sympathize with. They're not necessarily characters you can even empathize with. They're very different, they're very unique, and it was just like, in some ways it was just like watching a train wreck unfold, because these characters have gone through this very traumatic event, because they've been told all their life that this is how the world works, and now when the time has come for the world to work the way that they were told it's supposed to, suddenly it breaks, and they're not equipped because of the way that they've lived today. They're not equipped with the tools, or even like the mental tools, you can say, to really deal with the situation in ways that are healthy, or even in ways that are logical, or at least not following what a regular person would think of as logic. So because of all of that, like, it was just a really cool story to read about. Needless to say, as you can probably guess from all of this is very much fantasy, more on the literary side, but there is, and even the inclusion of a fantastical element in here is very questionable, which is just one of the many cool things that Chronister does with this story. Like, there's so much. This story is very much twisted and bent in ways that it makes you question everything. It makes you question a lot of things, and even when you think you're confident of one of your assumptions, there's something about this story that would make you question what if. So just really well executed. it certainly deserves its place on the nominees list for the World Fantasy Award. And of the books that I've read so far, I would say it's not my favorite of the 5, but it's certainly top 3 for me. So yeah, that's kind of my take on The Bog Wife by Chronister. Really great book if you're into fantasy on the more literary side, or if you like gothic kind of stories, that kind of thing. If you like very character driven stories, like, this is definitely a book to check out. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about The Bog Wife. If you've made it this far into the story, into the video, sorry. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.